how's it going? It's me, Betty Jean. Today's video is the finale of my 2024 makeup collection and declutter series. Saving the best for last, we are going to be talking about my eyeshadow palettes today. I am so excited. I filmed the declutter portion of this video a couple weeks ago and it just felt so good to not only like discard some things that I'm just not vibing with anymore, but to also just get like such a clear idea of what I do have and feel re-inspired, and it's just always so exciting. And I just love looking at eyeshadow. There's nothing more fun. Before we get into the video itself, I did of course film this look. It should already be up on my Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, all that good stuff by the time this video goes up. If anything you see in this video ends up being something that you want to purchase for yourself, I do have all of my discount codes listed in my description box. If you end up shopping and want to save a little bit of money, I might have a code for you. So if you want to check that out, that'd be wonderful. And yeah, without further ado, I don't want to babble too much because this is gonna be a long one. So let's just hop into it and get to looking at some eyeshadow palettes. Okay, my friends, it is time for the finale of the makeup collection and declutter series for this year. This is going to be my eyeshadow palette collection and declutter. I'm very excited to share this with you. We have a lot to get through today, and we're just gonna see how it goes. I am starting out today with 295 total palettes, which is crazy. It's a lot, but it is part of my job, you know, to test things out. I feel like testing out eyeshadow palettes specifically is my favorite thing. I do tend to accumulate a lot. I do try my best to be picky throughout the year on what I'm even willing to try. Like if I think I'm not gonna like it, I just don't even try it. But because of that, I end up trying a lot of good things because I know I taste pretty well, but I still need to condense this down quite a bit. I don't really have a particular goal in mind per se. I feel like I would like this to be under 200 since we're creeping up on 300, so we're just gonna see how it goes. I am also pre-filming this segment of the video like a few weeks early. I want to say 3 weeks early before posting, just because today was the only day I really had to film this. So if there are things throughout different brands that you're thinking I'm forgetting, I will save those for the end. I'll film that part later on, just because I know I am getting some packages between now and the time of posting. So I'll share those with you at the end. I just don't physically have them now. So future Betty Jean can take care of that. But before we get into it, just a couple housekeeping things. Number one, please don't get offended if I declutter your favorite eyeshadow palette. I'm so happy it's your favorite, but it's just not mine, and that's okay. We all have different preferences, and that's what makes makeup fun. Number two, please don't ask me to send you anything. I feel very weird and icky giving used makeup to people I don't know. I give dibs to my friends and family. I donate what I'm able to, and I dispose of the things that are maybe past their point of no return. And last but not least, please don't feel pressured to declutter your collection if that's not what's right for you. It's just what's right for me. I feel like I need to do this little reset at the end of every year. And I guess just as a side note, I'm simply not swatching everything in this video. I think my arms would fall off if I swatched all 295 palettes today. I do have videos with quite literally everything you're gonna see here, sometimes multiple looks. If you just check like my channel, my Instagram, on YouTube specifically, you can always search like BATTYBEAN, name of palette, and things will pop up. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get into this. We're gonna be here for a while. Grab a snack. As you can see, we're gonna start with Nomad Cosmetics for no particular reason other than it was the closest stack to me, so I grabbed it. I'm definitely gonna keep things that I love. I'm gonna keep things based on just general vibes. If I wanna keep it in my collection, I'm gonna keep it if it's something that I feel like I would definitely wanna use again. I am gonna declutter things that I feel like I got my use out of it. I'm gonna declutter things that maybe I'm not super fond of. So those are my only real parameters, I suppose, but let's just do this together, I suppose. So starting off with Melt, we have the Millennial Pinks. I love this palette. This one was very like hit or miss as far as like what people thought of it. I personally love this one. I think the color story is very cool and I'm gonna keep it. Honestly, I plan on keeping all of these. I don't think I'm getting rid of any of my Melt palettes. I just love them dearly. This is my Gemini 2. Super fun. I love this grungy garden aesthetic. I just think it's so cool. And I just love Melt's formulas. I love the very rich saturated mattes. The shimmers, I feel like they're either just very like soft metallic or they're very sparkly and toppery. They've kind of played around with two different formulas. This is the Mary Jane. I really like this. I actually have been itching to play with this again soon. I love the very bold like metallics. I love how cool toned it is. I love cool tones when it comes to neutrals. This one is so pretty. Oh, I love these ones. The Christmas Town with the lenticular packaging. So beautiful. I love this. It's very much giving like the lights reflecting on the snow. during the What's This song of the movie. I think this is beautiful. And this has those really pretty toppery shimmers. I think this is stunning. And the Halloween Town, as a Nightmare Before Christmas fan, I was so stoked when this like 2-part collection launched last year. So this is the Halloween Town. This very much gives like Sally, in my opinion. I think this is so, so cute. I will cherish these forever. Speaking of things I will cherish forever, I have the original like Beetlejuice palettes that Melt did. I never got to purchase these myself. A friend later gave me hers because she just wasn't like using them anymore and she thought that I'd get more love out of them, and I stand by that. So this is the Recently Deceased, just classic Beetlejuice vibes. And the Waiting Room. This one I have to be a little careful with because it's a little broken, but like it's not that broken. Like I just have to be a little careful. But very much like red, black, smoky sort of things. It's very, very cute. I have the 420 palette. I was so happy when I got this as a present a couple of years ago. It just makes me thrilled. I love these colors, these just yummy, rich, bright, but still grungy tones. Very, very cool. The Melt Muerte remains one of my favorite palettes in my whole collection. I just think it is so stunning. This is just such a beautiful color story. I was so enamored by it and I still am. This is so fun. The rest, I got this recently from my friend Linda from Glitter Fallout. She'd already had one and then acquired a second one and she gave it to me and I'm so happy. It just adds another melt one to the mix. I just think this is so cute. It's very much like sunflower kind of vibes, like half sunflower, half neutral. It's super, super fun. The Fatally Yours, I finally picked this one up during a sale this year. I didn't pick it up when it first launched and it's so pretty. I'm still debating if I'm getting the new one or not. I feel like I want it, but I don't need it right this second, but I probably will pick it up in the future. But this is so cute. I love the tones. And I have the classic Gemini. I got this as a gift forever ago, and I'm so eternally grateful because it ignited my love for Melt. It was my first Melt palette ever, and I still cherish this with my whole heart. It's still one of my favorite palettes. I think this is so pretty. The tones are just so good. And then we have the ones that are a little bit smaller. We have the Smoke Sessions 2. I feel like this launched this year, if I'm not mistaken. I really like the shimmers that are in here. They're very like kind of more sparkly, glowy, toppery. It is so, so cute. And I really like the size of a palette from Melt. When that one launched, I'd also picked up the original Smoke Sessions because I did not have it yet. And I do think it's fun. I like the grungy kind of, I don't know, weird, grungy, yellowy browns with the teals. It's a fun combo. And I think it's super cute. The theme doesn't really mean anything to me, but the color story is fun. And last, the She's In Parties. This always takes me back to 2020. It launched around my birthday in 2020. And it was my gift to myself when I was horribly sad, obviously. So yeah, I still cherish this one. I think the plummy shades are very cool. Let's move on to Dede Signature. I feel like with Dede Signature, I haven't tried anything from this brand that I think is bad. I just feel like there are things that I like better than others. There's things I'm more excited about than others. So I definitely think I can probably cut this specific part of the collection down. This is the Taste of Guava Quad. Unfortunately, I have to be super careful because as you can see, 2 of the shadows in this are broken, this shimmer and this matte. So one, I'm not really a quad girl. It's just not my favorite size palette to use. I prefer at least 6 pans. So I'm not super inspired to use it. I do think the colors are beautiful, but it's also very broken. So I get scared to use it. So I don't need this one. This collection I really enjoyed. This was the collab with Makeup on Your Radar. They came out with this like little peacock collection. So this is the Extravagance. So fun. We also have the Eloquence. I just love these very curated 5-pan palettes. They're such fun color stories, fun formulas. This is Elegance. These shimmers are outstanding. I love just all the different takes they took with these peacock themes. And then the Effervescence is all like soft duochrome sort of colors. And I think it's very, very cool. The Sweet Aesthetics, I'm pretty sure was their first palette they came out with under their new matte formula, which I do enjoy their new matte formula. I think it's very blendable. It has really good pigmentation. However, I just feel like I don't need a million rainbow palettes in my collection. There are rainbow palettes I prefer more than others. And this just isn't going to be the first one I reach for. It's, again, not a bad palette. I just feel like I don't need this one in particular. The Blooming Basket palette. This one is super fun. We have really fun pops of color, very bold, but also pastel. And the shimmers are beautiful in it. I just don't know how much I'm gonna realistically reach for it in the future. I feel like I got what I needed out of it and I don't really need to keep it anymore. Again, doesn't mean it's bad. I just know that I need to condense my collection down. And this just isn't one that I feel like I need to keep. I have some that I'm gonna talk about in a second that I love. Like, they are so, so good. So this one, since like, it's fine, I enjoy it, but I'm not like passionate about it, I don't need to keep it. And I feel that way about the Ultimate Cappuccino. I actually really, really, really like this one, but at the end of the day, this palette is good, but they have like improved since then. And I feel like I like their newer formulas more. I think this is really cute. It was a really unique take on a coffee color story, but this one I don't feel like I need to keep long-term either. The Chromebook Volume 1. This one I'm torn because I really, really, really like all these shimmers. But I feel like one of my goals for next year is to actually use my single shadows more. And I feel like if I have a palette like this, I'm less likely to reach for my single shadows. Just because it's like a plethora of beautiful duochromes. This is gorgeous. If you want like a one-stop shop for a ton of beautiful duochromes, this is great. Oh, I just don't know how much I'm realistically gonna reach for it if I'm gonna try to put in more effort to use my singles next year. This is a very much a me logic. For my personal situation, I think I can give this to a friend who will appreciate it more than me. However, these two I love. They recently re-released these two palettes. I think they originally came out last year. I didn't have the originals, but they re-released these with the new formula, and I love it. This is Jingle Bell Ruby. So beautiful. I adore this palette. I think this color story is so fun. The mattes are incredible. The shimmers are gorgeous. I love this. Like, this makes me absolutely thrilled. So just like with the newer formulations and the re-release of these palettes that have really cool color stories, these are what I feel passionate about, whereas the other ones weren't giving me that same feeling. So definitely keeping Jingle Bell Ruby. Also keeping the classic Autumn for the same reason. I think they're just so pretty. I love these grungy fall tones. This is stunning. I'm really happy with this. All right, giant stacks of Unearthly here. I love Unearthly so much, and I feel like they have improved so much over the years. I feel like they've gotten so good with their formulations. They're coming out with really, really cool themes, and they've been doing really good stuff. But there's definitely some things in the mix that maybe I can let go of just because of the improvement over time. Like, maybe I'm just more preferring what they've done lately over things they've done in the past now. So let's revisit that. This is their newest one as of right now, Just a Taste. It's like a fun little vampire theme. I love this color story though, because it's very much giving like grungy winter on this side and then like fall Halloween on this side. I think this is beautiful. I've really, really enjoyed using this one. The Gargoyle was such a fun Halloween launch as well. I love these like smoky, soft tones. Very pretty, very like dusty, grungy. So cool. These shimmers are just beautiful. They've gotten so good with their shimmer formulation. The Spring Magic. I love this packaging. I think it's so cute. The little skulls, it's so fun. But I really enjoy this palette. I think it's very just bright, but it's also kind of muted. It's really, really pretty. And again, the shimmers are just stunning. I love this. I love this so much. Taking it back now to some of their older palettes. This was back, I think, when they were still Alien Cosmetics. Yeah, it literally says Alien Cosmetics on the packaging. Their collaboration with Sydney Nicole Adams. This was super fun. I still think this is very fun. I think this was a very fun collaboration. I think the color story is very cool. However, they have just improved their formulas so much since then, and I also like the sizing of their other palettes more. This just isn't one I'm as itching to reach for, so I think I can part ways with this one. The leather and lace. This is an iconic one, honestly. I feel like they just did such a good job with it. I love the gradient. I love the pops of shimmer. But again, as much as I loved this palette, like this was a great palette. I got a lot of use out of it. I just feel like they've improved so much. And when I use an Unearthly palette now, I want to use their newer formulas because they're just so good. The shimmers are absolutely unreal. And yeah, this just isn't one that I'm reaching for that much right now. So I think I can pass this one to a friend. And same with the Dead of Night. Again, it is really, really pretty. I really like this color story. But again, I'm just more likely to reach for their newer stuff. The formulas are just too good to pass up. The new shimmers are just so smooth, metallic, and sparkly. Like, they're so shifty. And as much as I loved this one when it was out, I still think it's pretty. I just feel like I can give this one to a friend. All right, revisiting some of their other newer formulas. I think the Fall Magic actually was re-released in the new formula and the newer type of packaging with the smaller pans, and it's just beautiful. Like, I'm so inspired by this. I think it is absolutely stunning. So this is an absolute keep. The Surrender palette, while I love the layout, I love the packaging, I think this is beautiful. This is just one that I'm not as itching to reach for. And I do feel like this one was prior to their newer shimmer formula. Like, these shimmers are still good, don't get me wrong, but their newer ones are just better. What can I say? So this one I'm just not sure I'm going out of my way to reach for as much, so I think I can pass this one along. Literally, if I kept everything, I would have to buy a second house just for the eyeshadow. The Don't Be Jelly, this was another re-release. Like, they had a whole different vibe and theme for Don't Be Jelly, and then they re-released it under the same name with like a different take on the theme in their newer formulas, in the newer type of packaging, and I just think this is so good. Like, you can kind of see just like how shifty and sparkly these shimmers are. These are so pretty. I love this one. The Sorcerer's Smoke, I think, is my #1 favorite palette they've done. It's just so pretty. I love the grungy green, snaky vibe. It is so pretty. The Dreamer's a really pretty soft one. It's kind of like almost like a neutrals with a twist in a way, because everything is very muted, very soft. I feel like nothing is gonna be too in your face. Like, obviously you can play with like the dark purple and the dark blue, but you can also incorporate like this kind of neutrally soft pink and like the browns. Like, you can kind of do whatever you want. I mean, I'm personally a colorful kind of girl, but this is very versatile. I feel like it's very pretty. High Temp, I really enjoy this one as well. They came out with this one a couple months ago and I really like it. I like the combination of the classic like red, orange, yellow, but also paired with the mauves. I think that's a really, really fun take on this kind of color story. So definitely keeping. Then I just have a few more palettes kind of scattered throughout. The In the Dark, I'm gonna say similar stuff like I was saying before. This was beautiful for a time. I still think it's very cool, but their formulas have just improved, so I'm not reaching for this one as much. And this is not to say you can't keep using brands and palettes that have older formulas and newer formulas. Like, I'm not saying ditch the old ones. This is just for me. I literally have to condense my collection down. It's just getting too much. So I'm keeping the things that I'm more likely to reach for. And for me personally, that's the formula that I prefer. This is the Resurgence from Heather Austin. I do love this one. Heather did such a good job with this collab. It's very, very pretty. Definitely keeping. They did send me the new version of the Not Normal, which I'm very happy with. I think it's very cool. I love seeing it with the smaller packaging, the smaller pans. This used to be my favorite palette from them, and I just think it is so cute still. And last but not least, the Spaced Out Little Mini palette. I think this is cute, but it was kind of one of those palettes where, like, after I used it once, I was kind of over it. It's not bad. I just felt like I kind of got what I wanted out of it, and then I wasn't really inspired to use it anymore. So this one will be better to give to a friend who will like it more. Kaleidos. I miss when they were doing fun things like this. I don't have any of the quads they've released over the last couple of years just because that's not really my vibe, but I love their original launches so much. The Flower Punk was one of my favorite palettes of all time. It's so pretty. I love this color story. It's such a good take on like a weird grungy garden, like pops of brightness. This is so cool. I really need to use this again at some point. This one is Angelica's first collab. This is the Club Nebula from years ago. This was such a fun launch and it's still super fun. I think the colors are cool. I just love this, so absolutely keeping it. This is like a relic now. I love. And then there were the Futurism palettes. These are just so cool. Can you even imagine if they'd kept up with this series, even just launching like one new one a year? Because I think they stopped doing this back in like 2020, if I'm not mistaken. And they're beautiful. They are still so fun. I will never declutter these, even just for decor purposes, because the packaging is insane. But I am keeping all of these because I also just love them. I really need to use them more. I think some of these are still available on their site, but they have discontinued them over the years. This is the Cyber Bronze. I mean, this is my least favorite one of the bunch just because, like, I don't know, half warm neutral, pops of red and silver. Although I am very much in a red mode lately. I love red eyeshadow. It's still pretty. It's just my least favorite out of the bunch. This one is the Sci-Fi Green. I feel like this was probably my first like grungy green color story. And it's just so fun. The metallics, the mustard, very cool. This one is the Astro Pink, kind of like couple neutrals, but then pop of pink, pop of very fun shifty blue. Like this shifty blue was iconic back in the day. It's just so fun still. The VR Neon was such a time. The two duochrome shimmers were something so special back then. I mean, they're still pretty, but it's just more common to see now. And then these very bright, vibrant neons are so cool. The Electro Turquoise is still my favorite out of these. I just love it. I always call it my old school Taco Bell palette. It just reminds me of like old Taco Bell branding. And I just love the teal with the orange. So good. The Lunar Lavender is also a favorite. I just thought this was so fun. I loved the like very mauve-y browns paired with the brighter purples, and these duochromes were so special. I loved this. And last was the Sashimi City. This was a very, very, very fun kind of neutrals with a twist. It was like yellowy neutrals with pinky neutrals. And these duochromes were just so special, so shifty. Like, this was so fun. This takes me back. I miss these days. Moving on to Beaute Bar. I love this brand so much. I don't think I'm getting rid of any of these. I just adore this brand with my entire being. So let's go through them. This is the Dead Roses. This was kind of their take on like an anti-Valentine's Day. We have kind of a combination of like reds, purples. I'm trying to like show you the shifts in those shadows. You can kind of see like how they like shift and turn. It is so pretty. The Poison Garden was like their spooky launch for the year. I mean, I feel like they come out with like spooky aesthetic a lot, but this was technically their spooky launch. And again, I'm trying to show you like all the different shifts these shadows do. The Melted Mattes, I feel like wasn't made for me specifically, but it's very cool. It's very much like a half neutral, half neon. The shades are magnetic, so you could also just pluck what you need. I love these neons though. These are some of the best neons I've ever used. They are so smooth and creamy feeling. I feel like most of the time neons feel kind of dry. These feel so soft. This was such a cool idea. The Bejeweled palette. Oh, I love this. I feel like this launched at the end of last year and it was so fun. Like again, beautiful shifty shades. So rich. I love jewel tones. Oh, the Secret Garden. This was so fun. I love this one. Just like a vibrant, grungy garden sort of color story. And again, just really pretty shifts and tones going on. It's so cool. The Smoky Glam. I don't typically like palettes that are big like this, but I feel like these big Beaute Bar ones, and as you'll see down the road, the Blend Bunny ones are kind of my exception because I feel like they do a good job not being like this, like repetitive in the same palette, just because there's so many good undertones. Like there's so much you can do with this. And I feel like if you like these vibes, you'd love this palette. I also have the Pastel Garden, and I stand by that this is one of my top favorite pastel palettes. It's just so good. Like every tone you would possibly need. All the pretty shimmers. It is so good. This is the Best Mattes. This was a collab between Ellie Starr and Brittany Huffman. Just an all matte, all magnetic palette. I did kind of rearrange mine based on, I think, how Brittany Huffman arranged hers at the very beginning. I don't know what hers looks like now, but I went based off one of her guides, and I think this is still so cool. Not what I'm reaching for all the time because I don't go for like all matte palettes very often, but I like that this is here when I need it. Whenever I do get the occasional like want to do a build your own palette, this is perfect to dip into for grabbing mattes for a build your own palette. It's just so pretty. The Vamp was one of their other spooky launches for the year, and I just love the vampire theme. I love all the different like shifty shadows. It's very fun. Their mattes are just so creamy and blendable, and they've improved their mattes so much over the years. I think I only have one of their palettes that was their old formula before they improved, and then their shimmers are just out of this world. They're so shifty and blendable. The Ultraviolet in collaboration with Deandra Nicole. I adore Deandra with my entire soul. But this is such a fun purple palette. So cute. Like all the different undertones. It is everything. And I love just all these different shifts. The Recently De-Influenced. This was one of the Halloween palettes last year, and it's just so fun. I love these tones. Again, really pretty shifts. You can kind of see the different shifts when I kind of move the palette different ways, but it's very cool. Very cool. I always love revisiting these Halloween palettes like each year. The Basic Witch is like my top favorite palette in my collection actually. It's just so pretty. So pretty. I love these colors. I love these tones. I think this is so cool. The Strange and Unusual is the only one I have with the old formula. They have re-released this with the new formula, and eventually I will upgrade mine. But I still enjoy this. And I mean, it was still good before they improved, but they really did improve these mattes. Like their mattes were just fine before, now I just love them. So yeah, this was a beautiful take on a Beetlejuice palette. And last, the Molten Chromes. This is just like a 6-pan all shimmer palette. And like, it's not necessarily the first thing I'm reaching for, but these tones are really pretty, and they're so shifty and metallic. I love them. Let's go over Cosmic brushes now. This is another set where I'm not decluttering any of these. This is one of my favorite brands. I love their color stories. I love their products. I mean, I guess I've only tried eyeshadow from them, but I love their eyeshadows. I think they are so good, so I'm definitely keeping all of these. So we're just gonna run through them. The Gothic palette. Very fun, just kind of like purple, smoky situation. Very cool. Their formulas are so good. I feel like the mattes are just so easy to work with, and the shimmers are so smooth, shifty. They're so pretty. The Cool Trolls, kind of like a take on like a partially cool tone neutrals and partially just pops of cool toned color. We got like purples and blues and things like that. The Nude Trolls, I love this one. This is so fall. It's so pretty. I love the take on kind of like neutral toned colors, like with the mustardy yellow and like the sagey green. It's very desert vibes. The Delicious Delights. This is kind of like a fun, colorful pops of pastel, very pretty multi-chromes, like so cool. The Winter Wonderland is one of my favorites. It's just so pretty. And I'm such a sucker for this kind of a color story this time of year. I think it's so lovely, like just absolutely beautiful. This Winter Solstice shade down here is everything. The Serenity, this was like kind of what took them to the next level. As you can see, I lost a shade. It broke, unfortunately. I dropped it hard one time and it obviously went everywhere. You can see all the blue mess all over this palette, but I still love this. Maybe I'll replace this palette one day so I don't have a broken shade or a gone shade for that matter. But I still love this. I think it's so pretty. The Muse was my #1 favorite from this brand. It was the first one I ever purchased and I still think it's so cool. I just love these grungy vibes. Like I'm such a sucker for colors like this. And the Muse might still be my favorite, but the Undergrowth definitely gives it a run for its money. This was their like fall launch and it's so pretty. I just love these murky tones. I love these grungy greens and the pops of like rusty orange and the yellows. It's just so good. I love this palette. Moving on to Gourmande Girls, there are definitely some palettes from this brand that I love with my entire soul, and then some that I don't think about as much, so maybe I don't need to keep around. The Peach Perfect is so cool, and any palette that was also like this, I mean, some are collabs with Doodles by the Bunny, but some are just like the packaging was done by Doodles by the Bunny. I feel like I'm a sucker for those. Like those are the best ones. The Peach Perfect looks like this. So pretty. I love this take on a peach palette. I think it is so pretty. The Gourmandises, this is just one that doesn't appeal to me as much. I don't know, like it's fine. Kind of like an interesting take on like weird pastels and pretty shimmers. I don't think it's bad. This one just doesn't scream to me as much. The Secret Garden I got last year, and I'll be honest with you, I've kind of forgotten about it. Like it's pretty, I like this color story, but I just genuinely don't think about this palette. So I think it's best to give it to a friend. The Calavera is so cool. This was kind of their take on like a Dia de los Muertos tribute to the owner's grandparents. And it is so pretty. This is one of my favorites they've ever done. I just love these tones. I love the mixture of like saturated colors and pastels. These shimmers are some of the best shimmers they've ever done. I love this palette. And the rest of these are all either collabs with Doodles by the Bunny specifically, or just the packaging was done. The first being all collabs. This is the Haunted. Such a fun little spooky palette. I just love these collab palettes. They're so great. The Nightshade is kind of like a purple, green, yellow, spooky plant palette. And all the spooky palettes from Doodles by the Bunny go together so well. The Spooked was the original, and it's such a good, iconic Halloween palette. Classic tones, beautiful, beautiful shimmers. I love, love, love. And this was the collab Doodles by the Bunny did last year for winter. I hope they do one this year. For all I know, they've already announced it by the time this video goes up. But the Silent Night, I love the like rich blues, the cool tone browns, the pops of yellow. This is so, so pretty. And last is the Nueva Vida from Steph's Beauty Stash. I'm pretty sure Doodles by the Bunny did the packaging for this one still, but it's a collab with a different creator. But very fun, very vibrant, rich, colorful. This is super, super cool. So fun little lineup of this size palettes. I like this size the best, I think, from them. Next is Ensley Reign. I'm pretty sure I'm keeping all of these. I love the formulas, they do so much. So this is the Twisted Tea Party, kind of a Mad Hatter, Alice in Wonderland kind of theme. The formulas are so beautiful. The shimmers are so, so rich and shifty and sparkly, and the mattes are very pigmented. The Cosmic Dreamer, this is kind of like a fun, sort of like, I don't know, it's like partially like vibrant, colorful, partially grungy, murky. And I really enjoy that combo. The Lands of Enchantment is such a good one. So special and like pastel wintry. I love all these different shimmers, like so shifty. There's a lot of hollows in here. Very cool. We have their Moon series. This is the Flower Moon. They have updated the Flower Moon because as you can see, this one's like a little bit shorter than their other palettes. They have updated this one to be newer, and I think they might have switched out a couple shades, but I have the original one still. So this is the Flower Moon. Lots of shifty shadows, murky, grungy garden mattes, super fun. This was one of the first palettes I had from them. The Cold Moon from last year is still so pretty. I just love like cool neutrals, and it's very much like neutrals with a twist. I really enjoy the like soft, like pinks and lavenders kind of mixed into these shifty shimmers. It's really cool. Groovy Garden isn't part of the Moon series specifically, but it's still very cool. I like this kind of retro, like shag rug 70s color story. It's very, very fun. I like these colors a lot. The Harvest Moon is my favorite. I just am such a sucker for these colors. I love like a grungy, like autumn color story. It's so, so pretty. The Strawberry Moon, lots of bright, fun splashes of color. It's very, very, very cool. Very punchy, very rich. This is one of my favorites as well. The Underland, they launched this one around spooky season, and it's kind of like another kind of dark take on like Alice in Wonderland. To me, it's almost like Alice in Wonderland meets Stranger Things. Very cool. I really like this murky color story. This one's definitely my top favorites they've done, especially because I like the size. I like that it's a little bit smaller. They came out with this like Flutter and Flourish collection. So the Flourish looks like this, very like bright, poppy, punchy, very cool. And also the Flutter, this one's more of like a muted, like woodland fairy sort of vibe, and I really like the size of these as well. And then they recently started doing this like Woodland Critters series. I think they said they're for sure doing 9 of these, like 1 a month, and then if it's going well, they'll do a full 12 months, like a full year. So this was the first one, the Nutty by Nature, kind of like soft little warm neutrals, 2 shifty shadows, like you can kind of see those shifts there. Very cool. And this is their most recent one from November, the Hoppy Go Lucky. Very cute, kind of like just a different arrangement of types of mattes, and then 2 really pretty shifty shadows in here as well. Like I really like that minty shifty one. Let's move on to Game Beauty next. They've come out with quite the arrangement over the years, and I haven't kept every single thing. And I don't know what I'm keeping this year. So I guess let's figure it out. This is the Cyberpunk palette. They haven't come out with one of these gaming palettes in a while. They used to do this like gaming theme all the time. This one is the Cyberpunk. I have to be so honest with you, I kind of forgot about this one. It's pretty. I like the bright punchy colors. I kind of forgot I even had this one, so I think I can pass this one along. This one is the Harbinger. This is one that I also like. I just haven't really felt compelled to reach for. I think it's cool. Like I like this color story, but I don't know. I'm not going out of my way to think about it or reach for it, so I think I can also let this one go. Honestly, the first 2 like gaming palettes they did are still my favorites. I think I'm gonna keep these. This is the Fantasy. To me, this always just gave like winter turning into spring. I love these like softer shades mixed with the rich blues. It's very, very pretty. And the Adventure palette, the very first one they did. And I still think it's just such a pretty color story. It's definitely giving like Legend of Zelda. I think it's so cool. Don't love that there's a pressed glitter, but I mean, they did away with that right after this palette because people didn't love the pressed glitter. But overall, the palette is still super fun. They came out with these Elements palettes last year. I only had ended up keeping 2 of them, my 2 favorites. This is the Dendro palette. They kind of match their different elemental highlighters. Oh, I do still think this is really pretty, but as you're gonna see, I have some like elements themed 9 pans I'm gonna talk about later in this video that I definitely would quicker reach for. You might already know what I'm referring to, but I'll get to it later. Oh, I just don't know if I'm gonna reach for this one again because of those. And then the Electro, this one's more purpley. And with the Elements palettes I talk about later in this video, there isn't an electric one. I just feel like I have tried multiple really cool purple palettes this year. I just don't know if this is gonna be the first one I reach for going forward, so I think I can pass this one as well. Part of me wants to keep these just because I really like the theme. Like Game Beauty coming out with this collab with the like Persona 5 Phantom Thieves game, it made me start playing the game. I still have not beat it because it's a very long game and I haven't had much time to play games, but it made me really enjoy this game. It's actually inspiring me to pick it up and play it some more. This is the Phantom Thieves specifically one. It's kind of themed around like their different names in the game, and then the metaverse is themed on the different locations that they're like going through storyline wise. I just don't reach for these. I love them because of the theming, but I'm not reaching for the palettes themselves, so I think I can let these go. And then I am gonna let all 3 of these quads go as well, just because I'm not a quad girl. And I also, this theme doesn't resonate with me either, so even if I did want to keep them for the theme, these are Attack on Titan themed, so this is the Rose quad. And then we have the Maria quad. And then we have the Cinna quad. And they are very cute little quads. Like if you're into it, the formulas are beautiful in here, but I just don't reach for quads, so I don't need to keep them. I have these palettes from Jolie Beauty. The Spellbound is their most recent one, and I love this. This is my favorite palette they've done. I haven't tried that many of their palettes. I tried 1 years ago, and I've tried 2 this year, including this one. but this one is incredible. The different shimmers are absolutely insane. They are all so pretty and shifty and sparkly. I'm trying to like even help you capture like the idea of like all the shifts these have. The mattes are so rich and so beautiful. I'm a sucker for a blue, purple, green color story. This is absolutely staying. Even though I don't typically go for palettes that are big like this, again, there's a couple exceptions throughout the collection, this being one of them. And then one of my friends gave me this one, the Till Death, earlier this year. And it's honestly really pretty. Like there's definitely some shimmers in here I'm not as drawn to. Some are just a little bit more like satiny subtle, which isn't like my favorite thing, but I do really like this overall, actually. I think it's a really fun, kind of grungy, antique-y sort of color story. It's supposed to be kind of an alternative to a like wedding makeup type palette, like more of like an alternative wedding sort of vibe. I think this is cool and it is pretty unique to my collection, so I think I'll keep it. I have some palettes from Wicked Widow Beauty. I have like some small ones and some larger ones as well. I suppose we can start with the biggest one, the Resurrection. Oh, I do still think this is really pretty. This is very much like a grungy rainbow. It's very cool. And honestly, these shimmers are really, really good in this one. My first instinct was like, oh, I don't need a million rainbow palettes, but honestly, this is a really good one. I feel like this one stands out, so I think I'll keep it. We have the Scissor Hands 2. I believe they have a Scissor Hands 1 somewhere as well, but this is the one that I have. I think it's so pretty, very wintry, very, very pretty. I love this one. And the Crow, I think this is a great one. This collab was incredible. I feel like this captures the iconic essence of that movie so well. I love the like red gray vibe. It's very, very cool. And then we have the mini palettes. I want to say this is called the Tea Time, but it's not written anywhere on the packaging. Yeah, I literally don't know what this is called. I'm just gonna say Tea Time. But it's a very fun kind of colorful take on a like Alice in Wonderland color story. I think it's very cute. The Graveyard Smash is so cute. Just like classic Halloween vibes. It's very, very fun. And last but not least, the Lovesick, kind of a Valentine's vibe. I love a Valentine's theme. I just think it's so cute and I love like pinky purples together. I think this one is super, super fun as well. I really like these mini palettes that they do. So if that wasn't clear, I did keep all of those. I have some Beauty Bay palettes. I don't have very many. And honestly, I feel like some of these I'm hanging on to just for the sake of hanging on to them when I really don't need to. Like I haven't been reaching for them. One of which being the Midnight. I loved this. I think they came out with the Midnight in like 3 different sizes, like mini, medium, which is this one, and then a giant one. I think it's so pretty, but I just really don't need it. I do not know the last time I reached for this. It's probably been like well over a year. Like I definitely haven't reached for it this year. I don't think I need it. I have other things in this vibe that I'm more likely to reach for. Same with the Earthy. I love this color story. I love the different greens. Like this makes me so happy, but I have other green color stories that I am reaching for first. So I don't think I need to keep this one either. I do still want to keep these. I think though the Age of Opulence is so fun. I believe both of these were limited edition and don't exist anymore, but like, come on, this is still so pretty. Kind of like half neutral, half colorful. I love the glitz, the glimmer, the blues and purples with the golds. It's very fun. And the Wilderness. This was my first Beauty Bay palette ever, and I fell so head over heels in love. I just love these rich tones. It's very like earthy, grungy. It is so pretty. Like absolutely yes. I have some palettes from Salem Cosmetics that I think are cute. I'm undecided. This is the Sassy Fairy collab, and I think the collab palettes were done very, very well. This is the In My Dreams. I think this color story is very cute. We also have the Grunge Life. This was just a palette from the brand itself. And I do think this is a fun kind of take on like almost like a holiday. It's like grungy holidays. It's very pretty. The collab with Smink, the Forest Heart, is so, so pretty. I have dropped mine, unfortunately, so it's a little crumbly. Actually, I don't think I dropped it. I think it arrived a little bit crumbly. I take it back. I don't think this one was my fault, and I will own it because I am very clumsy. But very fun kind of woodland sort of colors. It's so cute. And then the Salem and the Witch palette, just another standalone palette from the brand itself. I do like these colors. I like the kind of teals with the purples, the pinks, the blues. I just feel like with this brand's palettes, like I'm not going out of my way to reach for them. I think they're pretty. I think the formulas are good, especially the collab palettes. I think the collaborators did a great, great job. I just don't think I'm reaching for these in particular from this brand, so I think I'm gonna pass these along. I have 4 palettes from Adept, and I'm absolutely keeping all of them. This is the Heather Austin palette. This was the first one I ever owned, and it's still just so pretty. These shifty shadows are everything. I just love them. The formulas from Adept are so, so good. I mean, their shimmers are where they shine, but their mattes are really good too. The Flying Fiddles I bought earlier this year. This is a very kind of earthy, grungy sort of color story. It's very pretty. I've actually traveled with this quite a few times now, and it's just beautiful. I feel like I can do very soft, just like throw a shimmer and blend it and call it a day, but I can also do very like intricate, dark, grungy vibes. It's very cool. The Cyborg Choir I also bought earlier this year alongside the Flying Fiddles. And she is so pretty, like so many beautiful like hollow shifts. You can kind of see the hollow in those shadows actually when I move the palette around. Very bright, very punchy. I love this one. And I have the Amy Loves Makeup collab. This is so pretty. These colors are just everything. It's very much a like cool toned dream. I love the soft pinks, all these pretty shifty multi-chromes. I'm trying to like even show you all these shifts, but I feel like it does not do it justice. This is just such a beautiful color story. I love just how soft and cool toned it is, but you can also be pretty dramatic with it if you want to. All right, I have my Lunar Beauty palettes. I think I'm keeping all of these. I have the Siren Sunset, very much a murky, like cool toned blue purple. I thought this was a really unique take on a mermaid palette. I feel like mermaid palettes are usually very bright. This one's very much like dark siren, and it's very cool. We have the original Moon Spell, opens like a book, and then you can kind of turn it sideways to see the shade names. Unfortunately, I did break Prue long ago, but I love this. I love this so much. I will never declutter this, even just for the packaging, because it's so pretty. Also, the Moon Spell Volume 2, same deal, opens like a book. And we have a really pretty red, purple, pink color story. I'm a sucker for red, purple, pink together. I think this is so, so, so pretty. I have the original Strawberry Dream palette. I mean, there isn't an updated one. This was one of my first palettes from the brand. I got this as a gift forever ago and I still love it dearly. It's so, so, so pretty. Love these colors. It's so rich. I like these different pops. It's very fun. I have the Eternal Eclipse as well, which I'm pretty sure I also got as a gift from somebody. Love the smoky, cool tones, the blues, the silvers. This is so pretty. And I feel like this would be a great companion with the Siren Sunset because they're in the same family, but also very different. And I feel like they would complement very well. And then the Moon Shroom I treated myself to a couple months ago. I'm just such a sucker for an earthy, like grungy garden sort of color story. It's just one of my favorite things. I think it is so pretty. Okay, let's do the Blend Bunny palettes. I have a million here. I guess let's actually start with the maybe the biggest and work our way up. So this is the Ellis. This was the collab with Ellis Atlantis this year. This is the only rainbow palette you would ever need in your entire life if you only need one. It has every shade. This is a literal table. This is far bigger than I prefer a palette to ever be, but it really is so good. I love the pops of like borderline neon with the very dark, deep shades, and the shimmers that are in the middle are so, so pretty. I have the Divination that they did with Robert Welsh, and I think this is so cool. I love all these different shimmers. I love the murky vibes, green, purple, blue. I love to see it. These shimmers are some of the best they've ever done. They are so pretty. I have the Little Miss She Never Misses palette with Donnie Darkowitz. I love this one too. I feel like it's very rich and saturated. I love the kind of like purple, red, blue, green. Like it's very, very fun, very rich. I love the cross of shimmers in the middle. These shimmers are so incredible too. I am getting sent the collab from Lynn's Makeup Looks as well. I just don't have it at this moment that I'm filming this part of the declutter, so I will share it during like the outro of this video. So I'm not skipping it intentionally, I just physically don't have it at this moment. The Machina is one of my favorites. I feel like this might have gotten discontinued already. Like I know she would put it on deep discount, it might already be gone. But this is one of my favorites she's ever done. I just think this color story is so cool. The Sugar and Grunge, this one also unfortunately got discontinued because there was a trademark instance with the word grunge. So this doesn't exist anymore at this time either. I really hope she brings it back with a new name of some sort because it's very, very cool. I like these kind of colorful but grungy vibes. The Stickly Sweet made the internet rage because she didn't keep her normal organized pattern. She went more scattered with it, but I think it's very cool. I think it's very inspiring. It kind of helps me come up with like weird color combos, and this palette's just fun. This is one of my favorite pastel palettes as well. Oh my gosh, the Dollhouse is iconic. I've used this one so much. I've traveled with this one. I love kind of the neutrals with a twist. Soft, grungy garden sort of vibe. It's very, very pretty. Blend Bunny is easily one of my favorite brands ever. I just get so excited about them. This is the Primal. This was supposed to kind of fill in the blanks for the Blends palette, which I'll talk about here in a second. This doesn't exist anymore. She did discontinue it because I guess it just wasn't moving the way she thought it would, but I love this one. The like indigo purpley row is so pretty and I just love it. I love it so much. Well, this is the Blends. This was their first palette ever. Just like iconic, all mattes, rainbow gradient, super pretty. I just love the depth to pastel ratio. So the Primal is supposed to be kind of a companion for the blends specifically. Ah, the Surge. This was my original favorite from this brand. I just loved the combination of neon, dusty pastels, grungy tones. This is so pretty. This was the first palette I ever bought from the brand. And because of that, it like put me on the brand's radar, and now I get sent palettes from the brand, which is incredible because I love this brand so much. But this is the palette that started it all for me. This was their second release and I fell in love with it. Hopefully they bring back a version of this one day with like updated shimmers, new neon, stuff like that. These two are some of my top favorites as well. The Lure palette. I love this color story. Like you guys know, I love a blue, green, purple sort of vibe. I just think it's so pretty. And these shimmers are absolutely incredible as well. The Longing is one of their newer ones that wasn't a collab palette, and I just think it's incredible. I love this soft kind of dusty, it's like a springtime tea party. It's so pretty. I love, love, love these shimmers. Like you can just see how glossy and shiny they are. I love these tones. It's everything. The All Done Up is such a fun kind of grungy neutrals with a twist sort of vibe. It's very, very cool, and the shimmers in here are insane as well. Last but not least is the Trove Quad. This is very reflective packaging. It's hard to show. But this launched alongside of the Lure palette to be kind of a companion of 4 multi-chrome, so she didn't have to include it in the palette itself. Trying to see if you can capture the shifts at all. Trying my best here. But this was so if you wanted to add the multi-chromes for the extra price tag, you could, but it wasn't like stuck in the palette to like make the palette an insane price. So these are super pretty. Let's move on now to Dieverune Cosmetics. They've launched a few palettes at this point. They came out last year. This is their most recent launch, the Witch of the Wildflower and Warlock of the Wood. This was a collaboration between the owner, M. Jones on Instagram, and Basket Case Beauty on Instagram. And they did such a good job with this collab. I think it's very fun. I think the colors are very cool. And I like these. I like these a lot, so I'll keep them. I also really enjoy the Gloomy Gardens. I believe they came out with this earlier this year. Again, I love a grungy garden color story. I think it's so pretty. I like these tones. I feel like they improved their formulas a lot since the first launch with this palette. This was their second launch, and it's just so pretty. I do think I am gonna declutter their first palette. I believe this is called the Moth and the Moon, but they've just improved a lot since this palette. I think it's cute, but their mattes have gotten better, and I don't know, this is just not one I'm passionate about, so I think I can let this one go since they've improved a lot. I have 3 from Simply Posh that I simply enjoy. This is the Coastal, and I love this take on kind of an oceany palette because it's not just like brown with a pop of blue. It's very much giving seashells. The shimmers are incredible. This is so pretty. The Aurora Lights is so good. Definitely my favorite palette that I own from them. It's so pretty. I love, like, again, the blue, purple, green sort of vibe. The shimmers are just so, so good. Their palettes are really something special, honestly. And they came out with the Cozy Cabin Holiday Edition. I think they have an original Cozy Cabin. I don't have that one, but this was their holiday version they did last year. And oh my gosh, I forgot how cute this is. This is so stinking cute. Very, like, cozy cabin. It's very holiday. It's very cute. Oh, I really enjoy this one. So yeah, I kept those if that wasn't clear. I have 3 palettes from Sigma, first being the Angela Bright collab palette. I think this is so cute. It's very much kind of a half neutral, half colorful. I really like the rich tones. I really like Angela Bright. She's the sweetest human. I love the Taylor Swift references and the shade names. It's a very, very fun one. I have the Cinderella palette, which I don't think exists anymore, but I really enjoy this one. It's very like metallic, cool toned. It's very wintry to me. I don't know, something about it is special. I really like this one. And then I have the cool neutrals that I got this year. So pretty. I feel like it's not like an incredibly cool toned palette, but I do feel like it's almost like cooler toned versions of some of these colors. And I think it's pretty. I love the matte to shimmer ratio with the matching like matte and shimmer. I think this is pretty. I feel really, really pretty when I wear this one. I feel like I can do things that are very glamorous, but I can also do things that are very smoky grungy. Okay, Ace Beauty. This is gonna come as a shock, but I actually think I'm gonna declutter quite a bit of these because I just have not felt compelled to reach for these. This used to be one of my favorite brands. Like 2017 Betty Jean is baffled right now that I'm even considering getting rid of some of these because it was literally one of my favorite brands. Maybe not 2017, maybe 2018. I don't know. Years ago, Betty Jean was obsessed. And I feel like I've still enjoyed their palettes over the years, but they've definitely slowed down. They've gotten rid of most of their palettes. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they're rebranding. I don't know what's going on. But I feel like some of these have just gotten very old. They're not their prime anymore. I feel like I just have other formulas in my collection that I prefer nowadays, even though once upon a time this was one of my favorite brands. They're just not anymore. I have other brands that have just really kind of stepped out of the box and done more and more over the years. They came out with these florally ones last year and I kept two of them, the Begonia, kind of a fun grungy garden, and then also the Flora, very much a sunflower sort of vibe, but I have not reached for these one time since I got them last year, so I definitely don't need to keep these. Okay, the Envy and Aura, I might keep because I do think these are really cool still. I don't know if they exist, but I really like these color stories. I think they're very, very fun. These ones I definitely want to keep. I think these are very cool and they stand out to me. But this is going to be crazy, but I think I'm going to declutter my Classical Paradise. I've had this for 1,000 years. It was one of my top favorite fall palettes, but again, I just have other brands with formulas that are so good. And this one's just, I don't want to say it's dated because I mean, it's still fine, but it's just not like what I want to be using anymore. Some of these I'm still going to keep. Like I'm not getting rid of everything. Like the Ambiance I still think is really pretty. Kind of a fun, lovely take on a fall palette as well. The Tropical Vibes is also one of my favorites. I love these colors. I just think it's so good. So pretty, so rich. I love. The Flare palette. This was my #1 palette in my collection for a long time. Oh, this is tough. My heart of hearts knows that this has, like, formulas have been improved since then. Like, even from the brand itself, formulas have improved since this palette. I never disliked their formulas, but they have improved. I have other formulas in my collection I love, but this color story still just gets me every time. It's so pretty, so I'm gonna keep it. The Nostalgia is really fun. I think this is one of their first palettes with their newer formula. It's very fun. I really like these colors. I was gonna say, but I think I might declutter it because I haven't been reaching for it, but now that I'm looking at it, it makes me want to reach for it. You know, I think I will keep it. I do think this is really pretty. Maybe I'm not gutting my Ace Beauté collection as much as I thought I was. The Oceanic palette is also iconic. Oh my gosh, I've had this for so long. And again, it's definitely improved, but it's still so pretty. Like I even used this over the summer this year and it was still very fun. You know, I'm still enjoying it. I'm gonna keep it. Paletopoly, this is one that like, I'm pretty sure that I decluttered last year. And this was, I think, the only palette that I undecluttered because I felt like I wanted to keep it again. I don't need this palette. Also, I feel like the Machina from Blend Bunny, it's not the same by any means, but I feel like they give similar vibes in some ways. And I'm always gonna reach for the Blend Bunny one first. So I undecluttered it last year for basically no reason, so I don't need to keep it. All right, I have a pile of random miscellaneous things, first being the NYX and Beetlejuice palette. I bought this just kind of on a whim at Target when it launched this past Halloween. It just isn't really doing much for me. It's okay. It's not bad, but I definitely didn't need to buy this one. I think I can live without it. The Urban Myth from Black Moon is still so fun. I think this is great. Such a fun take on kind of like cryptids and myths and stuff like that. I think this is very cute. They also recently came out with like a kitty cat themed palette and I did buy it. I just don't have it right now. So I'll have to share it in the outro later if I have it by the time this video is going up. But yeah, this is a brand I've loved for years. Oh, the Blueberry Muffin palette from BH Cosmetics, my only remaining BH Cosmetics palette. I had so many. I had those like 500 color palettes back in the day from the brand or however many they were. This one's still really pretty. I used it this year and I really enjoyed it, so I feel like I have to keep it. It's still so special and so pretty. I have two Glam Light palettes. I only have the Chucky palettes. Very random. This one is the Good Guys palette, kind of like bright, fun, really pretty shimmers. I do enjoy the formulas in this palette a lot. I'm conflicted because I do think the formulas are pretty. I do think it's a well-made palette. I think the theming is perfect, but I just don't know if I personally need to keep this one. I think I could pass this one along, actually. I am gonna keep the first Chucky palette though, the Crazy in Love. This one to me is just very much like a smoky, grungy, romantic kind of color story. I really enjoy this one from last year still, so I think I'll keep it. I have two from What's Up Beauty. I have the Dragon Eye palette, which this one is really pretty. It's kind of like this reflective packaging is so annoying, but it's like a kind of a half neutral-ish, half colorful, kind of like a neutrals with a twist. The shimmers are really pretty in this palette. I'm not mad at the shimmers. I'm very torn. I have to be so honest with you. Because again, similar to that Chucky palette that I decluttered, I think it's pretty. I think it's really well made. I just don't know how much I'm personally gonna reach for it. So I think I'll let this one go actually. And same with the Desert Monsoon. This one's very much half neutral, half colorful. And I mean, it's fine, but it's just not really one that I'm thinking about very heavily. Like the formulas are beautiful. If you're into this color story, I think you'd like it. I just don't know how much I'm reaching for it. The By Us Garden Busters. By Us is a new brand. It's actually a sister brand to Odin's Eye. The Garden Busters palette is their first palette. It's very chaotic. Very much not my aesthetic personally. It's very much kind of crazy, chaotic, whimsical. It's kind of giving Nickelodeon to me. Don't love the packaging, don't love the theming, but the colors are really fun, I have to be honest. I thought the formulas were beautiful. I really like the marbled shades that are in here. I don't know if this is one that I'll keep forever, but I kind of want to at least keep it for now because I also just want to see if this brand continues to create things, what they're going to continue to come out with. I want to be able to compare potentially, so I will keep this one for science. I have 3 from Glaminatrix and I think I'm keeping all of them. This is the Rich Romantic and it's so pretty. I really, really like this one. I just think the shimmers are incredible. The mattes are so cute. I really like this one a lot. The Barely Basic is my favorite they've ever done. I just love the gradient. I love the iridescent shimmers on the top. I love the really pretty metallics in the second row. I love the gradient of grungy fall shades. It's kind of like an elevated, updated version of that Unearthly Leather and Lace that I talked about before. Like, it's not the exact same palette, but kind of like the elevated version of it. It's just very special. And I also have the Pretty in Pastels. I love this pastel palette. I do feel like the 2 blue mattes are a little redundant, like these 2 right here, but I love the shimmers. I really love the different pastels. I love that there's deepening shades. A perfect pastel palette for me has deepening shades like this one, like that Blend Bunny Sickly Sweet. I just think it's great, so keeping that. Okay, ColourPop. I don't have a huge stack. I feel like there was a time in my life where I had a million ColourPop palettes and I have dwindled it down over the years just because there's other things I prefer more. Like, I feel like for the price point, ColourPop does do a good job. I enjoy their formulas, I enjoy their themes, I enjoy their colors, but I don't need to keep everything, that's for sure. So I think I can also cut this down a good bit. The Pokemon palette is very cool. I love the theming, I love Pokemon. I think this does capture the different towns really well, but I don't need to keep this one. At the end of the day, it is just kind of like a rainbow palette and it's not gonna be the first one I reach for. The Precious Metals, I actually really, really, really enjoy. I think the different tones are really pretty. I love the mixed metals sort of aesthetic. I don't love their mega palettes just because, I mean, I just don't prefer a big palette, but I will say it's very versatile. You get a lot of different tones with this, but I just don't know how much I need to keep this one. I'm not really doing like mixed metal vibes or metallic vibes very much. And I feel like I can find this throughout my collection in other ways. Maybe not all together like this, but I feel like I do have this in my collection. So I don't think I need to keep this palette. It is very pretty though. I think they did a great job with the theme. I have some of their like mid-sized palettes. The Frosty the Snowman makes me so happy. I love this. I love this, love this, love this so, so much. I will absolutely keep it. Same with the Twilight palette. I just love this. I feel like this looks like the movie so well. Like, it captured that like teal filter perfectly. Like, this is what I would have wanted out of a Twilight palette for sure. I think it's so, so cool. And I know some people were mad that there wasn't a red in the palette, but for me, there isn't really a lot of red in the first movie. Yes, there's the apple on the book, but since this is themed on the movie, I allow it for sure. The Foolish Mortals. I think this is fun. I got sent it this year when they re-released it. I never had it last year when it first launched. And it's funny because like I was so excited to get it. I was so excited to play with it. But it's like after I played with it, I was kind of like, I don't know if this was a need for me. I feel like it's cute. The theming is fun. But I don't know, it's just not super special color story wise. So I think I can let it go. I have these more like traditional rectangular sort of palettes. This is the Beauty and the Beast one. I think it's really pretty. I do think it captures the Beauty and the Beast movie really well. I thought this was fun to play with, but I'll be honest, I don't know how much I'm actually gonna reach for this one. So I'd rather give it to someone who will appreciate it more. The Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer palette though, can you tell I'm a sucker for a holiday palette? Halloween and Christmas, I just love it so much, but this is so cute. So, so cute. I love the claymation Rudolph with my entire soul. Absolutely keeping this. I still love the At Forest site. This was the collab with Raw Beauty Christie. I don't really play with this one as much anymore though. I just feel like, you know, actually I really do have a lot of grungy garden themes in my collection. And while this one is pretty and it was iconic at the time, I don't know how much I would go out of my way to reach for this one now. Like, I just feel like I have other, maybe not the exact same color story. I mean, throughout my collection, sure, I could find this exact same color story, but in one palette, it's not the same, but I could get these vibes from other palettes. And I just don't know if this is the first one I would use. So I'm actually kind of shocked at this. I didn't think I was gonna declutter that one. Oh, The Nightmare Before Christmas. This one is still so cute. It's giving like 2000s scene kid energy, like very old school Hot Topic. And I love that. I think it's very fun. The My Little Pony, this was one of their first palettes they ever did, and I never bought it at the time. And I got it as a gift later in life, and it's just so cute. I feel like I have to keep this one just for sentimental purposes. I never use it. I probably should use it. Maybe at some point when I do like a full face of old makeup, because I do that from time to time, I'll pull this one out. It is still very cute. And I feel very sentimental toward it. And then I have some of the 9 pans, which I don't think I need to really keep most of these. The Star Wars The Child palette is one of their best palettes they've done in my opinion. I just think the color story is very good. The like formulas are on point, but I never reach for this. I do not know the last time I reached for it. I hold on to it because I think it's a good palette, but I don't use it. And I'm also like, I don't care about Star Wars. I don't hate Star Wars or anything, but I just don't really care about it. So it doesn't like do anything for me. So I think I can let this go. I don't need to keep it just because it's a good palette. If I'm not using it, I'm not using it. Same with this Tinkerbell one. I kept it because I think it's really cute. I like what they did with this color story, but I do not reach for this palette ever. Ever, ever, ever. I don't think I would miss it if it wasn't in my collection, so I can let this one go. Then I have the 2 cool toned neutrals. That's Taupe was everything to me. Such a beautiful cool toned 9 pan. And then same with the Of Quartz. This one's a little bit more greigey though, less like taupey. And these are really pretty. I love cool tones if I'm gonna play with neutrals, but I'm also like, realistically, if I'm gonna do a cool tone neutral look, I have other formulas that I like more. Like Melt Cosmetics has the Mary Jane. I have that Smoky Glam from Beaute Bar that has like cooler tones mixed in. I have things from Blend Bunny, like the Longing palette has cool tone browns. I have other formulas that I am more likely to reach for. And as much as I loved these 2 for a time, I think I'm just keeping them just for the sake of keeping them at this point. I have these 2 from Lois Cosmetics, and I think these are still so pretty. I don't think this brand really exists anymore. They might, I just don't hear anything about them anymore. This is the Meet Me in the Underworld. Very cool, kind of like Hades Town sort of vibes. And then the Meet Me at Midnight. Very Taylor Swift coded before Midnight's even came out, years prior. Very like moon witchy sort of vibes. It's very pretty, but I never reach for these palettes. Oh, but they're still just so pretty though. These color stories really are very cool. These were very well done. I remember being so excited about them. But I don't know the last time I reached for these, and I don't know if I'm gonna go out of my way to reach for these. So I think I can let these ones go and pass them along. I'm kind of surprised. I have 3 from Menagerie. This one is the Sugar High. It's kind of like a fruit colorful sort of palette. It's very cute. I also have the Feral. This was their first palette as Menagerie. They were a different brand name before this, but as Menagerie, this was their first palette. And the Whale Song. This was an iconic old school one as well. Back when all the indie brands were coming out with blue-green palettes. Let's see. Part of me wants to keep all 3 of these just for like, especially these 2 for like nostalgia. It just takes me back to old school makeup days. I don't think I need the Sugar High. I don't really think about this one in particular. I feel like I do kind of want to keep these ones though. Like these still mean a lot to me in my collection. Okay, it's time for the uncomfy one, the one that I was dreading. So I have, of course, my 2 collabs with Shroud Cosmetics and my other Shroud Cosmetics palettes here. I've mentioned before, I don't know what happened with this brand. I literally have 0 idea. I was even informed very recently that you can still buy a lot of these palettes on the site and like they'll come to you. I don't know how fast, but they will still come eventually. I haven't spoken to the owner in quite a long time. It's literally been like, I don't think I've spoken to her once this year. I've tried. I don't hear anything back. It makes me sad. It makes me feel very uncomfy and weird. It's not a brand I'm comfortable promoting anymore, which breaks my heart because my collab palettes mean the absolute world to me. But this is just not a brand that I feel comfortable promoting. I don't even know what to do about it, if I'm being honest with you. It's weird and sad. And this was one of my favorite brands for such a long time, but I feel like I don't necessarily want to declutter my Shroud palettes in the sense that I'm gonna like throw them out, you know what I mean? Or even give them away for that matter. I think I am gonna move these though out of my collection and into more of a keepsake box, like a memory box, because if things were going good and things were normal, I would absolutely be feeling excited and I would not be decluttering a single one of these palettes, but I feel like I will never be able to in good conscience like promote this brand because of just how everything went down, how they just kind of disappeared and people didn't know where their orders were going. And I don't know anything either because I can't get a hold of the brand, and it just makes me sad. So for the purposes of the video and the declutter, I will be decluttering these, but I'm not like actually decluttering them. I'm just gonna move them to like a keepsake box, if that makes sense. I'll kind of like run through them. Like we have the Moonfall, we have the Creepy Cute 2, and of course the original Creepy Cute. This was like my first palette ever from the brand and I loved it. I have an updated one. The Peaches and Dreams came out last spring. Very pretty shimmers. Like she really updated her shimmers for that one. The Arcana, I remember being so excited about this. This was iconic. And then of course my collab palette. My first one ever being It's Frickin' Bats, and it still just means the world to me. I truly wish things are going differently now. Like I wish I could still use this all the time. I can't. I feel too guilty about it. And then my Halloween palette as well. I love so much, but this is just not a brand I'm ever gonna feel comfortable promoting again, unfortunately. So that's where this lies. Unfortunately. Fantasy Cosmetica. I love this brand with my entire soul. I'm absolutely keeping all of these. I think they do such a good job. We have our different classes over here. We have like a collab, a dragon palette, a Halloween palette. Like it's all so fun. So we're just gonna run through all of these pretty speedily because I'm keeping them all. We have the Rogue palette. Super cool toned yumminess. The Warlock is a very yummy, I call it my grungy Skittles palette. The formulas are so good as well. The Bard is a very fun kind of take on a like autumnal palette. I don't know why I can't think of words. It's very pretty. The Fighter. Ooh, actually the Fighter kind of makes me not feel sad about the precious metals because this also gives mixed metals, but in a condensed way. I love. That's great. Perfect. The Sorcerer, they have updated this packaging to be the new stained glass as well, but this is the Sorcerer. Very fun kind of bluey pinky purple. It's so cute. The Druid is still my #1 favorite, and this was their first palette. I have a new one because they sent me the new packaging, but this is still my favorite one from the brand. It's so pretty. The Wizard I'm really impressed with. I think they came out with this, early this year. I just love the blues with the pale banana yellows. I think it's very fun. This is the collab with Amanda from Makeup Just for Fun. A very fun kind of take on a like autumnal palette. It's very pretty. Cradled in Ice is beautiful. A very stunning kind of cool toned icy dragon sort of theme. It's very pretty. And their most recent palette is the Harvest of Souls. This is like a very rich, colorful. I really like this one. Like I feel like even though the Druid is my favorite, I feel like this would be a great first palette from the brand just because you get a really good variety. The shimmers are incredible. I love all the different options in here. It's a really cool one. All right, Give Me Glow. I feel like I've not caught up with any of their recent palettes. They have been re-releasing a lot of their palettes in their new like layout with like smaller pans, but I still have quite a few of the old OG ones. I feel like I might be able to condense this down just a little bit just because I haven't been gravitating toward these as much anymore. But let's see. The Juicy Olive. I got this as a gift from a friend years ago, and it's still very cute, isn't it? But I just don't know how badly I need to keep the 6-pan olive palette anymore. I've had this for years and I've gotten a lot of love out of it. I think it might be time to let it go though. I haven't been actively reaching for it. The Christmas Morning, I don't know if I can ever let go. It's kind of fallen apart a little bit. It's getting a little old, but this one still just means a lot to me. I feel like it's just such a classic. Like it brings me back to old school makeup days. This one still brings me joy, so I think I'll keep it, even if it's partially for sentiment. The Vintage Rose also is just like an iconic throwback. I feel like I can never get rid of this one. It just means too much to me. I think it's so special. The Nightlife. I feel like this is one of those palettes that I bought but didn't need to buy. You know, I think I'm gonna keep this, but I think I might just store it with my singles. Yeah, like these are literally all just single shadows that were put in a palette, which I don't think is a bad idea by any means, but I don't know. I feel like this might do better in my collection if I just store it with my singles. So I am keeping this one. I'm not decluttering it, but it is gonna stay with my singles instead of my palettes for the future. I guess on that note, Dieverune, I do have one more palette from them. It's the Dewdrops palette, but I keep that with my highlighter palettes. Even though it's an eyeshadow palette, I use it more as a highlighter. So I'm pretty sure I talked about it in my highlighter video. If not, then whoops. Either way, it's getting kept. It was like an iridescent 6-pan. I literally can't get to it now because I'm surrounded by eyeshadow palettes, but the Dewdrops palette is the one I'm referring to. The Haunted Pumpkin, this one's still very cool. I think it's very fun. I like these tones a lot. I love the pumpkin embossing. This one's cool. The Vivid Rose also makes me really happy. Just like kind of a bright, fun, punchy. I love pink and purple together. I think this one's just so fun. Okay, the Bad Witch Club. This might be crazy, but I think I am gonna declutter this one just because it is so broken. Like so many of my shades are like crumbly and falling apart, and like I feel like I can't even use this one because I'm scared of it shattering everywhere. They did recently redo this palette in the smaller pans, so maybe one day I will pick it up a new one in like the smaller pan version, because I do still really like this color story. I'm just terrified to use this palette. It's just, I was very clumsy with it. I've dropped it a lot. I don't know why this particular palette, because I really don't go around dropping my palettes all the time. For some reason, this one I've dropped multiple times, so. Yeah, I think I'm just too scared to use it, so I feel like I shouldn't even keep it. If they were the shimmers that were broken, it'd be a different story, but since they're the mattes, like I've tried to like smush it together. I'm not good at repressing. It's okay. I also have the Pastel Dreams. I got this as a gift a while back as well. Oh, it's so pretty. This was one of my favorite pastel palettes for a long time. But with time, like I have other pastel palettes I think I prefer more, like the Blend Bunny, like the Glaminatrix, like the Beaute Bar. I feel like this just isn't gonna be the pastel palette I reach for anymore, and I'd rather give it to a friend who will get a lot of love and use out of this. This was cherished in my collection for years. I have some Sugar Pill. I have the Black Capsule palette. It's very fun, kind of like a spooky capsule theme, because they were doing these capsule palettes for a while, and I've since decluttered most of them. There were 4 total, but I still have this one. And I'm gonna be so honest with you, I think I only keep this one because it is my favorite of those capsule palettes. But I haven't really been reaching for this one either. So I think it might be time to let this one go. I will, however, be keeping my Fun Size and Fun Size too. I still think they're so great. Kind of like fun, pastel, almost neons if you build them up really intensely. And then the Fun Size 2 is like kind of fun, interesting, quirky colors. It's very, very cute. I want to keep these. These ones are special to me. I have some Clionadh palettes. This is the Deep Sea Treasures. I really enjoy this one. I love the multi-chromes that are in here. I mean, their multi-chromes are just insane. So this is an all multi-chrome palette, a very fun companion sort of palette. The Dragon Fruit palette with Emily Violet Marie. My packaging is broken. But the shadows on the inside are still stunning. Very juicy, fruity sort of palette. It's so pretty. And then I also have the Oceano. They also have the Archeo and the Paleo, I think is what they're called. But I have the Oceano specifically, and this is so pretty. It's one of my favorite palettes of the year so far. I love this with my entire soul. I think this is so, so good. I have a few from Alter Ego. Alter Ego does like dupe palettes. The Mist Haven, I believe, is a dupe for the Pretty Grunge from Huda Beauty. They do change the layout of the shadow, so it's not gonna like look like an exact replica, but same types of shades just scattered around differently. I do think this is a really pretty cool tone palette, I gotta be honest. I like these like soft toppery shimmers. Even this linery shade, I'm not usually one for like a cream texture in a palette, but I do like to do smoky wings and big wings, and that actually is very useful for that. I think I actually will keep this one. This one is the Daylight. I believe this is a dupe for the Natasha Denona, is it like the New Nudes or something like that? I'm so sorry if I can't remember the exact names, but very soft, kind of like warm-ish, cool-toned-ish, lots of really pretty shimmers. I love the shimmers that are in here. And I love that there isn't the cream to matte formula that like these palettes have, that this one doesn't. That makes me really happy, but I'm just not really gonna reach for this one very often. I know myself too well. The Mystique palettes, I believe this is a dupe for the Natasha Denona Cirque palette or something like that. It was like a circus palette. It's very pretty. I like these colors a lot. I just don't love that there's the cream to matte formula, like with this purple and this blue. They just never look as dark on the eyes as they look in the pan, and I feel like I hate that. Like I just wish they were traditional mattes and they weren't like that weird creaminess. One of them is right here, and it's just, I don't know. I just don't like this formula as much, and it bothers me. So I know it's so picky to like dislike a couple shades in a palette, but it's just the truth. I think this is one of them too, yeah. And it like looks like nothing. It just makes me sad, so I don't want this one. I also have the Wildwood palette, which I do really like. I think this is a dupe for the Natasha Denona Yucca palette. It's very pretty. Very, very pretty. But again, there's that like cream to matte that I don't like right here and down here. I just don't like that formula. If this did not have that formula, I would keep it. But I'm so picky about it and I hate it so much, so I'm not gonna keep it. Okay, this is actually really funny. I just realized I miscounted my total for the entire video. It's 296, not 295, because I do have one more Alter Ego one, but I had this in my worst makeup of the year bin. I don't have a giant bin, but I do have a bin of my least favorite makeup of the year so I can keep track and talk about it later. But this is the Dream Gaze. It's the dupe for the Natasha Denona Pastel palette. I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but this is just so lackluster and sheer. There's a lot of those cream to mattes that I don't like, which is already points knocked off, but even the traditional mattes are just so incredibly sheer. They barely show up on me, and I'm a ghost. So there's just way better pastel palettes out there. Like, this is not like the worst palette I've ever tried in my life, but it was very disappointing. This has been my least favorite palette I've tried this year. So the shimmers are nice, but everything else was very lackluster. So yeah, the Dream Gaze. Almost done, if you can believe it. We have 3 more brands to go over, one of which being Lethal Cosmetics. I love Lethal Cosmetics palettes. I don't see myself decluttering any of these, if I'm being honest with myself. This is the Mellow Grove, I believe. It's not written on the palette itself, but it's so pretty. Oh, it's such a pretty color story. I love it so, so much. This one is the, I want to say Velvet Dusk. I wish they would write the names on the palettes. That would make my life a lot easier. This is the Velvet Dusk. So gorgeous. I love it so, so much. This one is the, wait, maybe this is the Velvet Dusk. I don't remember what anything is called. I'm so sorry. They don't write their names on their palettes, but this one's one of the older ones, and it's still so pretty. I got this as a gift years ago, and it like meant the world to me. I literally cried. And I also got the After Dark, I'm pretty sure is what this is called at the same time. And I love, it means so much to me. I still really love these color stories. Oh, it brings a tear to my eye. I think I got them as a Christmas gift, and it just meant the world. This is the Evergreen, I'm pretty sure. And it's so pretty. So, so pretty. Lethal Cosmetics just does such a good job. They're definitely one of my favorite brands. This is the Metamorphosis, I believe. It's very cool, very warm, very rich. Oh, it's absolutely delicious. I want to roll around in these shadows now. They're so pretty. This is the, I believe, the Night Flower. This is one of my favorites from them. Oh, that is so good. And then I also have the Wildflower. Oh, it's such a pretty one. Like these lovely, like, pops of pastel. They're so cute. This is a brand new one. I literally just got it in the mail. I think it's called the, dang it, I already forgot the name of it. It's like the Spellcraft. I think it's the Spellcraft. It has this really cool buckle, and it literally looks like a spell book. Like, are you kidding me? I actually haven't even played with this one yet. I have not touched it. I have not swatched it. This is brand spanking new to my collection, and I am so excited to dive in. It's so murky and grungy and pretty. I'm very excited about this one. I have the 2 Teresa is Dead collabs. The Lethal is Dead right here, and then the Teresa is Lethal. Super fun, kind of spooky palettes. I think they're very cool. And then the Element palettes that I mentioned forever ago in this video that feels like 1,000 years ago. These are from the Avatar: The Last Airbender collection. So there's a palette for each element, like water, earth, fire, air. Long ago, the 4 nations lived together in harmony. You know the story. But I love these. These are some of my favorite palettes they've ever done. This one in particular is my favorite palette they've ever done, the Earth one. It's just so rich and pretty. So, so pretty. The water one is just so, like the shade names, like Penguin Sledding. It makes me so happy. I love this franchise so much. So this whole collaboration, they did such a good job. This is the fire one. Oh, it's so rich. The shimmers that are in here are incredible. And then the air. This one's the most tame out of all of them. So it's more like soft neutrals with pops of colors. It's super fun. Odin's Eye. I have so many Odin's Eye palettes, and I have decluttered some over the years, like some of their old ones that just, they've improved over the years. Most of these I feel like are the improved palettes though, so I feel like I'm gonna keep pretty much all of these. I can't think of any that I might declutter. But I guess let's find out together. Maybe there's some that I'm just like not really thinking about and I don't really care about anymore. Start with the giant one, the Eternal Twilight. I feel like this is a little bit unnecessarily big. Like this could have been smaller just size-wise because of the wasted space. But I do think it's fun. I like the kind of like opposites attract sort of color story. These shimmers are so pretty. So even though it's kind of obnoxious in size, I'm gonna keep it. All the Christmas palettes, so many Christmas palettes. And actually, let's go in order from release. So 2 years ago, Christmas palettes were honestly the best ones. Like everybody knows it, everybody agrees. This is the Merry Christmas. So pretty. Like every time I look at these, it makes me so happy. The Christmas Eve is still one of my favorite palettes the brand has ever done. It is just so special. So, so pretty. Last year, they came out with the Snow Dream, which is like a Christmas cookie. It is so stinking cute. I do love that each of these has such a distinct different theme. The Hey Reindeer is a lot more like fun, colorful. To me, this is very much giving spring. It's not as much giving holiday, but it could be giving like colorful holiday as well, you know? But that's the Hey Reindeer. So those are the two from last year. And then these are the two for this year. This is the Rosy Jingle. For me, this is very like colorful. Could give springtime vibes, but it's also giving like pastel Christmas, because I feel like pastel Christmas decorations are very trendy this year. And this kind of matches up with that really well. Like it kind of looks like a lot of the things I'm seeing in stores right now. So Rosy Jingle. And then the Silvery Bliss to me is just so pretty. It's giving you're hanging out in a cabin wearing like maybe flannel pajamas and sipping on a hot cocoa. It's very much giving like Mountain Man cabin Christmas. It's so cute. So yeah, those are the 6 Christmas palettes. And then I have Angelica's 3 collab palettes. Her original Hella, super fun, kind of like pinky greeny color story. And then the 2 Halloween palettes from last year's Halloween. So this is Trick or Treat, kind of more classic autumnal vibes. And then the little ghost is giving more like Halloween with the orange and the purple, but with some other pops of color as well. I think it's very cool. I have these ones that are a little bit more of like the classic rectangle. So we have the Soul Mane 2 and then the Soul Mane 2 Moon Wish. So these kind of go together. This was the original Soul Mane right there. Very like colorful vibes. And then this one is the sister to it. Very much like softer, like moonlit with like stars spangled throughout. That's kind of how I like visualize that palette, at least. These 2 I love so much. We have the Jewels and Gem. This one's more like cooler mauve tones. It's very, very pretty. And then the Stone and Rock is like earthy, witchy vibes. It's so cool. I'm just such a sucker for this kind of a color story. You already know. Honestly, besides like my obvious collab palette that I have a bias towards, this might be my favorite alongside of the Christmas Eve. These 3 are definitely my oldest ones out of this mix, I'm pretty sure. But I feel like I just have to keep them. They're so cute. They look like books. Like similar to the Lunar Beauty Moonspell and Moonspell 2, like the book is, I'm a big reader. I feel like I would keep these just for decoration even if I didn't want them anymore. So this is the Saga of Freya. So this is a double palette. So we have this side here, and then we also have this side here. So you could kind of like play with them separately, or you could like treat them as one big palette, but it's very cute, very cute. And then there's the 2 that go alongside of it. So there's the Chapter 1 Tears of Freya palette. I love this color story. I think it's so cute and romantic. And then the Cat's Breath. I'm a big cat lady. So this just makes me happy. And I love like a teal orange sort of color story. I think it's such a good combo. And then all the collabs. There's of course the collabs that I did alongside of Lauren May Beauty and Makeup Just for Fun. I mean, I guess Angelica's were collabs as well, but these are more like collab series. So here's mine, the Planet Spirit. I still love this so much. I had so much fun creating like a super loud, colorful palette. It was a lot of fun for me. This is Amanda for Makeup Just for Fun's Flora Story. It's so romantic garden. It's so pretty. And then the Sea Talk that Lauren May Beauty did. This very just like mermaidy, so cute. And then we had the original Legendary Diversa, and then they all came out with palettes again. So the first round was same people, but Tina from the Fancy Face did the Hummingbird palette. Very bright, colorful, so pretty. Judy came out with the Red Dragon palette. Very like warm, fiery, so pretty. And then Annette from Annette's Makeup Corner came out with the Giant Wolves. This is a really good one as well. Like this is also one of my top favorites the brand did. It's just so great. And then when they came out with a part 2, we have the Earthwood from the Fancy Face. I love this one. I think this is stunning. Also one of my top favorites. Judy, who did the Red Dragon, also did the Spring Dragon. And I loved her take on doing 2 different like kind of dragon palettes. It's very fun. And then Annette did the Mighty Monster, which I feel like looks like Jurassic Park to me. I love that. I think it's so cute. And last but not least, we have all of my Nomad palettes. I feel like I should spread this out a little bit because I have so many. Definitely can declutter this a little bit. They come out with some amazing palettes, but they also just come out with a lot of releases. And while they're all beautiful in their own right, they're not all like my perfect palette. So I think I can condense this down. Let's start with the longest palettes first. The Haunted Europe is obviously a keep. One of my favorites they've ever done. It's just so pretty. I think this is my favorite they've ever done, actually. It's just so good. Spooky, lovely, amazing. The Ghost Town USA was their spooky palette last year, and it's so cute. I love the dusty vibes. The Ireland Wild Atlantic Way is also a favorite. I think this is just so cute. So, so cute. The keys, beachy and peachy. Now, I live in Florida. I'm very much not a Floridian though. I feel like I don't like the beach. I don't like Florida activities, other than going to the theme parks. But I do still think this is very fun. It's very punchy. I love like this half a lot. I love that like punchy orange with the like purpley blues. It's very cool. Very, very cool. Plot twist, maybe I don't cut this down at all and I keep all of them. I just love them so much. They do such a good job with their themes. This is the Paradise Islands, and this one still makes me so happy from last year. It's so rich and so vibrant. This is the Verona Love and Death from last year. It's also like a double-sided palette, and it's very, very cool. I like this one a lot. I like the two sides. I like the fun take on like a Valentine's theme. Ooh, the Monteverde Cloud Forest. Oh, this one's really cool too, isn't it? It's just so special. They did such a good job. Okay, we can take a break and actually declutter some. I am gonna get rid of the little ones just because they're not really my vibe. They're cute. Like this is the Canadian one. This is the OSL one. They're all like themed around like airports, which is, it's a really cool, it's a really cute theme, but I just feel like out of my Nomad palettes, these ones are just not the ones that I'm like using and reaching for. I'd rather give these to a friend. Now we have more of the like regular sized palettes. Actually, we can start with this one because I actually think I can let this one go. I've kept this for a couple years now, and it's really pretty, the Paris one. It's very, very fun. But I'm not really reaching for it. So I think I can part ways with this one now. Oh my gosh, the Iceland one, I will never ever be able to part with. It's one of my top favorites. I think it is so good. Oh, the Royal Europe is such a pretty one too. I love these rich jewel tones. This is everything. The Okavango Safari. Oh, it's so pretty. I love these muted dusty tones. It's very good. The Whistler Snow Lodge is my favorite wintry one that they've done. I just think it's so pretty. Like very much snuggled up in a cabin. It's so cute. The America's Parks. Oh, I still love this one a lot. Like a lot. Those colors are just too good. And eventually I will visit all of these. I visited like hardly any, but throughout my life I will. My first one ever, the Tokyo Harajuku. I got this from a friend years and years and years ago, and that kind of just sparked my love for Nomad. It got me on Nomad's radar. Forever grateful for this palette. I don't use it as much anymore. This one I'm definitely holding on to mostly for sentimental reasons, and I will continue to do so. I love the little kitty cats. I love the shimmers. Honestly, these shimmers are still very iconic. They're very like shifty toppery. Very before their time. This is their newest one, the Polar Express, and this is just cute. Brings me a lot of joy. I think it's really pretty. The shimmers are really special. Love it. This one's also a recent one, the Chicago Speakeasy, which honestly is giving holiday to me a little bit, like with the red, the soft greens, the plums. I think this is very, very fun. I love these toppery shimmers in the middle. This was their fall release from this year. This is the Fuji 5 Lakes, and it's very pretty. I love this kind of a take on a fall color story. These shimmers are everything. This was last year's fall one, the Hudson Valley. This will forever be a great one. It's just so good. Last but not least is the New Zealand Stargazing. I think this was their first palette they did this year. Like these multi-chromes are so pretty. I love this one. It's a very fun take on a space palette. Wow. That was a lot. I don't even want to know how long I've been filming. Editing Betty Jean is gonna have a fun time with this one. But let me count everything up and get you my totals. I don't know if we got closer to 200 or not. I definitely kept a lot of these. A lot. But it's my favorite part of makeup, what can I say? Okay, well, provided I counted correctly, I started with 296 palettes, I decluttered 68, and now I have 228. I very much held on to a lot of things, but like I said at the beginning, I'm kind of picky with what I even try over these last couple years. I don't try things if I don't think I'm gonna like it. Like I try to just know what color stories I like, know what formulas I like, and when I stick with that, it means I acquire a lot of things that I like. And I do test out a lot of makeup like as part of my job when I do my YouTube stuff. And I mean, my YouTube stuff does involve me testing out a lot of stuff like as part of the job, you know? So like I do acquire a lot of things. I'm not trying to justify, I'm just trying to explain my rationale. So I'm not surprised, honestly, that I only got rid of 68 because I have so many great things that I'm keeping. Maybe I could have dwindled it down a little bit more, but I'm pretty happy with these results, honestly. I feel like I've let go of things that I don't really care about. I'm re-inspired to use some things that maybe I haven't used in a while. I'm feeling pretty good about it. So for those of you who are visual people, I hope you enjoy these pictures because I had a hard time taking them. They're not perfect. I had to do them in stacks because I could not lay out 300 palettes and take a picture. It was not happening. But here's the picture of the stacks of 296 things that I started with. Here are the 68 things that I ended up decluttering, and here are the 228 things that I ended up keeping. Hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you've enjoyed this series. You can check out all the other videos from this year if you haven't yet. You can check out years past if you're curious about what's been done in the past. I am so thrilled that I did this. I'm happy that it's over. I'm happy to have a very good idea of what makeup I have at the moment. And again, stay tuned for the outro and I'll go over any other palettes that I've acquired since filming this portion of the declutter. So take it away, future Betty Jean. Thank you so much for being here and for watching. I know this was a long one and I really hope you enjoyed it. This was like a full feature-length film. I did want to, as promised, go over the palettes that I have accumulated since filming the declutter portion into now, when it's literally just days before I post the video, so I can kind of catch you up with where everything is at. So I do have the Blend Bunny Glisten Cosmetics Lynn's Makeup Looks, like that three-way collab situation. Super colorful, their smallest palette to date besides that little multi-chrome quad. Mostly mattes. We have two really pretty duochrome sort of shimmers. I do like that it's a smaller, more compact palette. I think that's very fun. Next is my new favorite Dede Signature palette. This is the Fearless Holiday. I love her so much. I think she is absolutely stunning. These colors are everything. I've said this a couple times since receiving this palette, but I feel like it gives updated Ace Beauty flair, which is so cool because like I was kind of wishy-washy on keeping my flair anyways. I'm still gonna keep it for now just because like I'm so sentimental and I loved that palette for so long. But I do feel like this could end up becoming like my new replacement for that palette. I just want to give it some time first, just to make sure. But I love this one. I think it is fantastic. Definitely their best palette yet. Next is the Ensley Reign Light in Your Eyes palette. This is such a treat. She's so pretty. I feel like it's such a good combination of like cool tone neutrals meets like grungy shades. I love all the pretty shifty sparkly shades. This is so pretty. Really enjoying this one. I still have some more palettes. I don't usually accumulate this many palettes this fast, but with it being like the holidays and Black Friday and stuff, I accumulated a lot. I have two from Cosmic Brushes, first being the 'Tis the Season palette. This was their like Christmassy launch for the year. It's very cute. I love these colors. I feel like it's a really fun play on like kind of classic Christmas tones, but like with a little bit of a twist. It's kind of giving colorful Christmas tree to me. I'm actually wearing the greens all over my eyes for this look, and I just think it's so good. The next palette is from the Sinister Mystery Box, which I have already like played with on my channel and stuff like that. But if you ordered this for yourself and want zero spoilers until you have it for yourself in your own hands, just skip past this. Just like tap forward like 30 seconds or so. I'm gonna breeze through it pretty quick. But this is the Sinister palette from that mystery box. It's a cutie little like kind of like gray, purple, red sort of color story. There's this really interesting ghost shade that's like an eye gloss. I just think that's so funny. But yeah, this is the mystery box palette, super fun. And these next couple I haven't used yet. They'll be coming very soon on my channel, but I do physically have them, so I figured I'd share them with you. First is the Light Scatters palette from Clionadh and Bad to the Brow. This collab is so pretty. These multi-chromes, like look at those shifts. Are you kidding me? This is so pretty. I'm very excited to dive in. I bought the new Black Moon Cosmetics palette. I just could not help myself. This is the Cat's Meow. I just love Black Moon. They've been a like top brand really for me for years. They don't release that many things that often, which I actually really appreciate because it makes their launches feel just so extra special because it's very few and far between. This is honestly one of the first indie brands I think I ever tried, and this one just makes me happy. I love the kitty cat theme. I love the weird grungy colors. This one's super fun. And last but not least, I have the Wicked Widow Beauty Tales of Terror palette. This one came out during Halloween time, but the packages came out a bit later than the actual launch for PR and stuff like that. So this is the Tales of Terror. I love this color story. I cannot wait to dive into this. It is so pretty. Like this is one of the prettiest color stories I've seen. This is absolutely stunning. I love it. I'm really excited about the shifty purple shade. It's so good. So yeah, I think that is everything. I don't think I forgot anything. Bear with me, but I don't even remember what my grand totals are anymore. So you can just add that to the list of my totals. It does not even matter, but thank you so much for watching and for being here. I would love to hear your thoughts. Do we share any of the same favorites? Do you love some things that maybe I don't love? Vice versa. We all have different preferences, and that's what makes makeup fun. I just love eyeshadow. I love makeup. It's my happy place, and I thank you so much for being here and hanging out and watching. If you made it to the end of this video, why don't you leave, just leave a lot of colorful emojis. We looked at a lot of colorful eyeshadow today. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel out a lot. And if you're not already, you can follow me over on Instagram and BATTYBEAN there as well. well. Also, I would love it if you hopped over to my second channel, linked in my description box if you want some additional content. Also, you can join my channel memberships, also in my description box. There's a couple different tiers with a couple different perks, and I would love to have you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, bye.